I'm Rob Hoff.
I'm Kristen Manek, and this is SpokeTV, your source for local and campus news.
Rob Ford has become the talk of the town on a worldwide scale. We took to the halls at Conestoga College to get students' reactions to the mayor's admissions of smoking crack cocaine. Reactions were quite mixed.
If people do vote for him, I feel like it's going to be like, man, that's the crazy guy who smoked crack. Let's vote for him anyways.
He's a politician. He's also a person. He did what he wanted to. Now he's going to have to live with it.
I feel like people have been pestering him so much, so he felt pressured to come out, and I think that people need to get out of his space and just let him be.
Yes, like it's idiotic that he knew he did it and he said nothing. It's completely idiotic. He's made Canada laughingstock across the U.S., across everywhere.
There's a misconception that people need to go to the farmer's market to get local produce. Reporter Brittany Mifsud visits the Royal Agricultural Winter Fair to shed more light on how it's more convenient to eat Ontario foods than you might think.
Good things grow in Ontario, and that's what corporations like Farmers Feed Cities want to showcase. Buying local produce is a main aspect of the 91st Annual Royal Agricultural Winter Fair in Toronto. There are many booths set up to inform people about the importance of buying local and to showcase the variety of produce that Canadians make.
Organizations like Farmers Feed Cities choose venues like the Royal to set up their booths so they can educate about agriculture in an urban setting. A lot of classes take their school field trips to the Royal, and there's a lot of people who live in towns and cities who maybe don't know a lot about farming.
Clarence Martin, a local egg farmer, explains why it's so important to buy local.
You know where they come from. We have some of the strictest food safety laws, and you know that there's no antibiotics in the feed, any of that. It's all highly regulated in Canada.
Many Ontario farms have stands set up to sell their products and answer questions. Grain Farmers of Ontario have an interactive booth that allows children to play games and watch videos on Ontario wheat, soybean, and corn farmers. Beth Story, communications assistant of Farmers Feed Cities, explains why it is necessary to inform people about local agriculture.
A lot of people are about the local and the Ontario and stuff like that, and that's great. And so a lot of them aren't quite sure what to look for in the grocery store, so they'll go to farmers markets and that sort of thing, which is great. But in your grocery store, it's really easy to find.
If you are interested in buying local, you can look for the Foodland Ontario symbol on produce, ask your local deli where the meat comes from, and look for the blue cow on your dairy products. For SpokeTV, I'm Brittany Mifsud.
The concept of a community greenhouse is up for discussion within the Student Association at Conestoga College. The greenhouse would generate knowledge, products, and learning experiences for Conestoga students. With more from the garden, here's Adam Rochon.
Reducing what is already the smallest carbon footprint out of all Ontario colleges might not seem necessary, but for Conestoga College, it just became possible. The concept of a community initiative such as building a greenhouse has surfaced within the Student Association, and the organic idea is attracting attention. The greenhouse will replace this garden here on the Cambridge campus, but before that can happen, a lot of red tape needs to be cut. Jana Vadika, the environmental program coordinator, explains the obstacles that must be overcome to build such a structure.
Just really the health and safety of it. You know, what are the possibilities for injuries? Who's going to maintain it? And whose time is required to do this? Is it college staff? Is it volunteer? A greenhouse provides the Conestoga community with an efficient method of generating healthy, fresh produce year-round for students who use the food bank. Interior design student Nitika Oberoi, who sits on the CSI Board of Directors, shares her opinion on how this project can be designed, built, and maintained by students.
For the students to actually get to design something for students is something that doesn't happen every day. And if we can start doing something like that, that can also save the college money, save the students money, and also gain experience for their program, I mean, it's positive all the way around.
It also allows the college to open new botany, horticulture, and other biology-related courses. For SpokeTV, I'm Adam Rochon.
An untimely fire struck down St. Jacob's Farmers Market in the beginning of September. Since then, there has been much effort in the community to reconstruct a temporary market for its vendors. From St. Jacob's Market, here's Caitlin Mackenzie-Keys.
St. Jacob's Farmers Market continues to rebuild from the tragic Labor Day fire. A roof has now been added to the structure that will house vendors that were displaced.
Although the structure is only temporary to get vendors under cover for the winter, St. Jacob's hopes to start building a permanent building next year.
Indoor vendors from the secondary buildings have continued to flourish since the loss of the main building. Jack Ramonoli explains how business is not as consistent for outdoor vendors like himself.
It's not a rainy day like today. The market's still very busy, but when it rains, there is no indoor building anymore, so people don't come as much. So that's what we've noticed.
This rebuilding has become easier with the help from the Kitchener and Waterloo Community Foundation. The CEO, Rosemary Smith, tells us why the foundation wants to help merchants get back on their feet as soon as possible.
I believe it's a real jewel to this community. It's been a draw for many, many tourists from around the world, and there are a lot of vendors who were left with no insurance and significant losses. So we were asked by leaders in the community to step up and help channel the monies that would be raised to support those vendors in the losses they've sustained.
KWCF St. Jacob's Farmers Market Relief Fund aims to raise money for the vendors that were affected, especially those small merchants with lower inventories. They will seek donations until December 31st.
For SpokeTV, I'm Caitlin Mackenzie Keys.
There's been speculation surrounding it since the 80s, but it hasn't become anything more than that. Residents of Ontario who have a thirst for local wine and craft beer sales and corner stores can kiss that dream goodbye. Last week, Premier Kathleen Wynne stated that the Liberal government will not allow alcoholic beverages to be sold in convenience stores. Instead, they will broaden the product's availability through specialty outlets and LCBO expansions in grocery stores throughout Ontario.
For the first time in a long time, the Kitchener-Waterloo Humane Society has recently received 17 puppies, which is unusual. With more on the hairy tale, here's Molly Mercier.
The Kitchener-Waterloo Humane Society houses all sorts of animals, such as cats, birds, rabbits, and dogs. And last Thursday night, 17 puppies were added to the list.
This is an extreme amount of puppies that we've ever had.
Christine Lishman, adoption coordinator, explains where all their furry new friends came from.
They came from one of our community members that was a breeder that it just got out of hand. So he chose to surrender the puppies to us so we could care for them properly and do all the things that need to be done to them.
The Humane Society is making sure that the 8-week-old Mastiff Rottweiler cross puppies are being taken care of medically and behaviorally even after they're out of their care. Adoption counselor Erica Merrick explains some of the steps they take to ensure a good transition into the home.
Puppies are usually good for all family members, but we do, like all ages, but we do put down, you must attend our puppy class, which is 5 weeks, 1 hour classes.
Puppies are easier to place, whereas some of the older dogs are only suitable for adult homes. However, whether it be a puppy or an older dog, they still all go through the same adoption process.
All members of the family need to meet. That is a requirement. And then if they have a dog at home and they're looking for a second dog, we do need to meet with that dog and do what's called a meet and greet.
All the puppies must be spayed and neutered before they're released for adoption, as is Humane Society protocol. For SpokeTV, I'm Molly Mercier.
A Police Foundation student from Conestoga College has recently claimed the Cambridge Athlete of the Year award. Here's Brandon Zwambag with more on Muay Thai fighter Ashley Nichols.
Muay Thai fighter Ashley Nichols is this year's Cambridge Athlete of the Year.
It's an honor to win this award. Knowing that others are seeing your hard work and dedication for your respective sport is amazing.
A resident of Cambridge since 2007, Nichols has been involved in the sport for 10 years. This past year has been one of Nichols' most impressive to date, winning several titles, including Super Flyweight at the World Muay Thai Championships in Thailand.
In July, I went to Thailand and secured the Super Flyweight World title for the World Professional Muay Thai Federation.
Following 2 years of nominations, Nichols is now the 40th winner of the prestigious award. Marilyn Ivanovic is the chair of the selections committee and explains the process.
Try to go down and decide how much
They have gone worldwide or international for the different sports and try to do a comparison to make it fair to choose our final athlete of the year.
Ivanovic says that the sport in question may affect the final decision.
You're trying to compare different sports. Some of them don't go as far internationally.
The fact that last year was not an Olympic year may have evened the playing field for Nichols. While some of the other nominees would have likely been headed there, Muay Thai is not an Olympic sport. For SpokeTV, I'm Brendan Zwombag.
Even though there's been a change of management, movies on the big screen will keep on rolling.
Local Empire Theatres in Kitchener and Waterloo, along with 21 others throughout Ontario and Western Canada, have recently acquired a new owner. On October 31st, Empire Theatres reopened under the new management of Landmark Cinemas, making it the second largest theatre chain in Canada. They now run a total of 54 theatres in BC, Alberta, Manitoba, and Ontario.
With Remembrance Day approaching, a local Canadian Legion recently hosted the 5th annual Remember Run. Those participating in the race collected pledges that were donated to the Poppy Fund. With more from the sidelines, here's Kelly Burns.
Some people remember by wearing poppies, some remember in silence, and then there are also people who remember those who fought for our freedom with a run. The Remember Run is a fairly new way to give thanks to those who served for Canada. It starts at the Cambridge Legion, which hosts cadets and veterans, and then has a 2-minute moment of silence honoring those who lost their lives in battle. Jordan Schmidt is operations manager for Waterloo Running Series and explains that there are multiple charities that runners raise money for throughout the year.
We have 10 races throughout the year that raise money for a variety of different charities. For example, some are research charities like the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation or the Movement Disorders Research and Rehabilitation Clinic. Some of them are community centers, things like the YMCA. We have Heartwood Place builds safe, affordable housing, Special Olympics, Big Brothers Big Sisters, Cambridge Memorial Hospital Foundation. There's a whole lot of charities that we raise money for at these races.
Not everyone runs solely for remembrance. Dave Paddock loves the exercise.
I really enjoy the training for the races. I hate the races. They're hard on me. But the staying in fit and being active, that's the part of running I really enjoy. The races, yeah, I could do without them, but I like to get out once in a while and test myself.
The 5th annual Remember Run is one of the only runs of its kind which actually celebrates the lives of veterans with a moment of silence and donations to the Poppy Fund. And a little bit of rain doesn't seem to be stopping any runners from coming out. For SpokeTV, I'm Kelly Burns.
Nearly 2/3 of students polled in a survey have had some sort of sexual encounter in the past year. With this in mind, safe sex should be an important topic among students, but many are not as informed as they should be. Heather Mighton has the story.
Let's talk about sex, because according to the results of a recent sexual health survey, Canadian college and university students may not be as well informed as they may think. Results of the survey conducted by the Sex Information and Education Council of Canada reveal that although most young adults take their health seriously, only about half of the students surveyed report using a condom the last time they had sex.
The good news is that many of the sexually active students are taking some sort of precaution when it comes to their sexual health. As expert at University of Guelph, Robin Milhausen explains.
Only 10% of university students reported using no method at all. So it isn't just that we look at this finding and say 50% of university students are behaving irresponsibly. No, actually 90% of university students are taking some care to protect their sexual health. But what we learn is they are much more concerned about pregnancy than STI infection.
Current university student Rachel Turner says that there is information available and students shouldn't be afraid to use it.
Don't be afraid to ask. Even if you don't want to go to the clinic, ask your friends, ask somebody, but it is there and it's pretty anonymous too, so it's better safe than sorry.
According to Milhausen, while colleges and universities are well equipped with resources for students to take advantage of, such as on-campus health services which provide access to birth control, STI testing, and even free condoms, the education should start at a younger age. For SpokeTV, I'm Heather Mighton.
This has been SpokeTV. I'm Kristen Van Eck.
And I'm Rob Hoff. For more local stories, check out spokeonline.com.